All right, so you know how sometimes you're just wrapping up the year and bam, a news story just appears out of thin air?
Oh, yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Well, that kind of happened right at the end of last year on New Year's Eve.
Interesting. What happened?
House Democrat Jerry Nadler drops this pretty hefty report, like over 150 pages.
Okay, 150 pages. That's pretty substantial. What's it about?
The big takeaway is it claims that Jim Jordan, the guy running the Judiciary Committee, was using his position to basically help Elon Musk and Twitter financially.
Twitter, now X, right?
Exactly, X.
So essentially, we're looking at an accusation that a congressman might have been using his power to boost the advertising revenue of a social media platform.
To try and get those ad dollars flowing back into X. That's the core of it.
Yeah, I see. And why did the advertisers leave in the first place?
Well, a lot of it goes back to when Elon Musk first took over Twitter. Remember, there were a ton of changes,
Oh, yeah.
like bringing back accounts that had been banned and things like that.
Right.
And the report argues that's when Jim Jordan stepped in and started trying to publicly pressure those advertisers to come back to the platform.
Okay, so how does the report connect Jordan's actions to this advertiser situation?
Well, it suggests that things Jordan was doing, like holding congressional hearings, were actually a tactic to put pressure on advertisers.
Interesting. So the report frames it as him sort of weaponizing his position.
Exactly, and it raises a big question about whether that's an appropriate use of congressional power, to try and benefit a private company.
Right, trying to influence a company's bottom line.
Yeah, but there's another side to this too, a counter-argument that our source brought up, and it's all about free market principles.
Okay, I'm listening.
The idea is that in a free market, advertisers have the right to choose where they spend their money, regardless of any pressure they might feel.
So it's about business autonomy, basically.
Exactly. And our source pointed out that any entity, even Congress, can voice concerns or hold discussions on issues that are important to the public.
Without it automatically being seen as interfering with the market.
Right. And on top of that, the way this report was presented, well, let's just say it didn't help.
No, how so?
The title was pretty aggressive. How the House Republican majority abused oversight powers to protect Elon Musk and silence his critics.
Yeah, that's a pretty loaded title.
And our source felt like it instantly created negative bias. People might just see that title and form an opinion before even reading the report.
Yeah, it definitely could influence how people interpret the information.
The commentator we looked at even admitted that they didn't even realize the report was out there until way later.
Oh, wow.
They blamed the timing, New Year's Eve, and that strong title for kind of burying it.
Interesting. So even if there's good stuff in the report, the way it was presented might have overshadowed it.
Exactly, although the commentator did say there might be some solid analysis in those 150 pages.
So the accusations themselves are still worth considering, regardless of the presentation.
Right, we still have that core question. Did a congressman misuse his authority to try and impact a company's finances?
A big question for sure.
And our source also briefly touched on a broader critique of Jim Jordan.
Oh, what's that?
The idea that he tends to focus on these kinds of issues instead of more traditional lawmaking. The source even pointed out that Jordan hasn't sponsored any bills that have actually become law.
So it sort of adds to this picture of where his priorities lie.
Exactly.
All right, so to sum up, we've got this report that's alleging Jim Jordan may have used his position to try and sway advertisers to return to Twitter after Elon Musk bought it.
And this whole debate about a free market and whether there was any political pressure happening.
Right, and ultimately, it leaves us with a question to think about: what's the appropriate level of influence, if any, that the government should have on the choices of private companies?
Especially when we're talking about these online platforms and how they make money.
Yeah, it's a really complex issue with a lot to unpack.
Definitely something for all of us to consider.
Absolutely.